A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Stephen George and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Madenge. Now, the morning session of the Parliamentary Upper House, that is the Senate, turned disorderly after Health CS Aden Duale, who was expected to be in the floor of the House at 10 a.m. for questioning in accordance to the Standing Order 5 of the Senate, hence turning lawmakers impatient, causing disorder in the House as senators accuse the CS of despising the House and devolution. Davis Karani reports.
Can you throw this guy out? Is Senator Cheruiyot above the law? Is Senator Cheruiyot above the law, Honorable Speaker?
Order, Senators.
He can't heckle like this.
Order, Senators.
It was the altercation and exchange of words in the mid-morning session of the Senate, causing commotions as emotions raised high due to the Health CS delayed entry to the floor of the House for questioning in accordance to Standing Order 51C of the Senate Act.
These games really must come to an end, Mr. Speaker. The CS must be brought to this House to respond to the questions that members have asked. If he has to make a choice between going to the National Assembly and coming to the Senate, health is a devolved function. He will have to come here and then make arrangements to meet members of the lower house at another time.
At some point, the blame was shifted to the Speaker for not being balanced after he urged Senator Edwin Sifuna to withdraw a statement he raised about Senator Cherargei of being a heckler, and on this, the ball was returned back to the Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, you did refer to the senator as a heckler, which is out of order. If you could withdraw that and apologize.
Honorable Speaker, you are determined to turn me back into the old me. You yourself have said he was heckling. A person who heckles is a heckler. That is what you call him. Senator Cheruiyot of Kericho was heckling me. He's a heckler.
Take your seat. Senator Cheruiyot, I will find you grossly out of order. You started heckling. You were heckling against him. You did not behave orderly yourself, Senator Cheruiyot.
But they say in a disagreement of the wise, there must be a solution on it, and Senator Moses Kajwang brought back the House to order after the CS for Health entered the House for questioning.
Was a leader of majority in the other House. He was extremely contemptuous to this House. And we cannot conduct ourselves in a manner that affirms the kind of contempt he used to show to this House. Instead of us pointing fingers at ourselves, we should be condemning the CS for keeping us waiting. Mr. Speaker, we have had children sitting in the gallery, children that you have invited, seeing the leader of this House behaving in a manner that is beneath those children. Mr. Speaker, the initial request was to expunge certain statements from the Hansard. And Mr. Speaker, I think that is fair enough. If they can be expunged, let us not push these things of apologies because we are now getting into brittle egos, Mr. Speaker. I urge you to direct this House and to take control of this House so that we can train our guns on the Cabinet Secretary rather than on ourselves.
I came here purposely so that I can hand these documents to the CS. I hope he's the one walking in. Yeah, so if he has arrived, then we need to proceed. But these games, Waziri, they must come to an end.
Davis Karani for GBS News, Nairobi.
Still in Parliament, in today's proceedings at the Senate House, 3 CS appeared before the House for questioning. They included Cabinet Secretary for Labour, Alfred Mutua, his colleague at the Cooperative Societies Ministry, Wycliffe Oparanya, and CS for Health, Aden Duale. Let's listen how the proceedings went on.
First to appear before the Senate plenary for questioning was Cabinet Secretary for Labour, Dr. Alfred Mutua, to respond to questions raised by nominated Senator John Mbugua Mungai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Waziri, welcome to the Senate. I rise to ask question number 57. 1. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the reinstatement of the Disability Mainstreaming Indicator, the DMI, in the performance contracting guidelines for the current and future financial years? What measures have been put in place to ensure that the Public Service Commission assumes responsibility for enforcing the 5% requirement for the reservation and employment of persons with disabilities in all public institutions.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, through the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs, is mandated to create and enforce policies that protect the rights, welfare, and dignity of all citizens, with a special focus on marginalized and vulnerable populations, including persons with disabilities. The government is committed to disability inclusion in the implementation of all its programs and has put in place policies and measures that are geared towards the improvement of livelihoods.
I would want to know which tools has the ministry used to guide them in measuring disability inclusion, since you say your department has continued to use the indicator while the other MDS are not using it. Which tools are these, and can you submit this tool to us?
Talked about how this house has ensured that people living with disability are included and part of this house. If you're in a wheelchair, members of this house, if you're in a wheelchair and you want to do a banking transaction and you want to go to an ATM here in Nairobi, in a wheelchair, you'll not be able to transact. You'll have to ask somebody to help you, because the ATMs are made for people who are standing, able-bodied people. Majority of people on wheelchairs cannot reach that ATM. So we need to do like what they have done in Australia, they have done in England, they have done in many countries. Also have ATMs that also consider the lives of people who are living with disabilities.
For Cooperative Society's Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya, nominated Senator Joyce Korir had these.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to welcome the CS to this sitting. And Honorable Speaker, I will go direct to ask my question, which is 1, or A. Could the Cabinet Secretary outline the existing or new initiatives aimed at supporting women entrepreneurs to start and grow businesses? B. What steps has the ministry taken to raise awareness among marginalized and unprivileged women, particularly those in remote areas, and availability of funding support for women entrepreneurs?
I wish to respond to question number 065 by the nominated Senator Joyce Korir as follows. For A, Honorable Speaker, the ministry through the state agencies has implemented multiple existing and new initiatives that are inclusive to women, youth, and persons living with disabilities, marginalized and minority groups to start or expand their businesses.
I want the Honorable CS, because in his other life he was very clear that we need to hold the President to his promise that this Hustler Fund was supposed to be a grant and not a loan, and that therefore the people who borrowed this money need not pay that money back. That was the position we held together with the CS. I want him to confirm, Honorable Speaker, what plans are there to make sure that the people who are listed as defaulters of this particular Hustler Fund are made to pay back this money, now that he has taken a diametrically opposite position that this money needs to be paid back.
On the issues raised by my Secretary General, Mrs. Funa, I don't remember. I know we were in the same boat that time. But I never heard of this money being a grant. That was the truth. I only was in the same boat when we were saying that this money should not be paid. But now I'm in a different boat. I'm saying that Kenyans who have borrowed this money should pay. Because I feel that this money is a good initiative that will help many Kenyans.
Finally, Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Dwale, who arrived late in the House, was put into the furnace, first by Kisumu County Senator Tom Ojenda's question.
Honorable Speaker and members, from the onset, allow me to state that in terms of access under SHA, Kenyans can access free primary care by just registering as a member. For NHIF to access any benefits, one had to register and pay monthly premiums, leaving those who have not paid with no benefits for them.
Victor Udin, GBS News.
Moving on swiftly, Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of Performance and Delivery Management in the Executive Office of the President, Mr. Eliud Owalo, has said Kenya should urgently embrace and shape artificial intelligence as a transforming force to secure a sustainable and inclusive future. In his keynote address during the official opening of a two-day international multidisciplinary conference at Rongo University, Migori County, under the theme Harnessing Artificial Intelligence and Innovation for a Sustainable Future and Advancing Global Resilience, Mr. Owalo called for an African-driven AI agenda grounded in ethics, inclusion, and relevance to local realities.
From my vantage point within the Executive Office of the President, I can affirm that the coordination of these efforts, ensuring effective alignment, performance, service delivery, and impact across ministries and sectors remains a high national priority. Our collective ambition is clear, not merely to adapt technology, but to shape it, govern it responsibly, and ensure that it uplifts the standards of living of all Kenyans for purposes of both economic growth and economic development. Universities are at the heart of this transformation, and I therefore urge institutions such as Rongo University to effectively integrate AI and other emerging technologies and digital literacy across all fields of study, from science and engineering to agriculture, health, and even humanities. I encourage you to promote interdisciplinary research that addresses real-world challenges, especially those affecting our rural communities. I call upon you, therefore, to uphold ethical standards, ensure fairness, impartiality, transparency, and accountability in technological innovation. I also, in equal measure, invite you to foster innovation ecosystems that nurture startups, entrepreneurial thinking, and community-driven solutions. And I challenge you to strengthen partnerships with the government, industry, and civil society to accelerate the translation of research into tangible, positive impact. Research must be effectively linked to practical situations in the market.
The Catholic Bishop of Murang'a is calling for a critical review of policy implementation of both national and county levels, urging stronger commitment to devolution that truly serves the people. Speaking during a Holy Mass at Kirinyaga County Assembly, Bishop James Wainaina decried rampant corruption and selfish leadership, saying Kenya's well-crafted development policies often fail due to poor execution and personal interest. Susan Nganga with more.
In a strong call to action, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Murang'a, James Wainaina, has urged both the national and county governments to review how policies are implemented, while also pushing for stronger devolution that truly benefits the citizens.
Therefore, we recognize the presence of the others and what the other person stands for. If devolution is supposed to be like this, it should be like that. If the national government is supposed to be like this, it should be like that.
Speaking during a Holy Mass held at the Kirinyaga County Assembly, Bishop Wainaina emphasized that Kenya is not short of good plans, from development blueprints to organizational strategies. In fact, he noted some of these plans are effective even in other countries. But the problem, he said, lies in how we implement them.
Actually, Kenya is known for very good plans. Coming from where we were, Kenya was shown how, even by our colonial masters, they showed us how to make very good plans. development plans, organizational plans, and we made plans that are very effective and even in other countries. But we, because of selfishness and wanting to benefit ourselves, to the detriment of the other person, then we have gone wrong in many things, and especially in corruption.
Bishop Wainaina noted that if the country were to genuinely follow the policies already in place, they could lead to massive development and promote peaceful, harmonious living among Kenyans. However, the self-serving and corrupt application of these policies, he warned, continues to hold the country back.
If you look at them and follow those policies properly, they are good. And mainly, they can bring a lot of development and even people living together in a harmonious way. Only that we apply them in a selfish way. And when we employ them in a selfish way, and therefore even in a corrupt way, that is what has destroyed our country. And it continues to destroy our country. Corruption is, in another word, decay.
Susan Nganga, GBS News, Kirinyaga County.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming on the social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 2114. We'll be right back.
My name is Ima Gatoru. I'm a model, a commercial model to be precise. And I've been asked this question, like, is model an art? And yes, modeling is an art. Because there are different products that you're supposed to promote or design, and you have to have that skill of you promoting that design or that product. So how you walk, how you talk, how you present yourself, like how you pose for a picture or pose for an item in your mepewa, or how you drive into a place in your mepewa. So you have to have that art or that skill for you to actually deliver what they want you to deliver. So yeah, modeling is an art.
And for the topic of the day is self-awareness and sisterhood. Self-awareness and sisterhood.
People know they're self-aware, but if you don't know how to act on it, then you're not really as self-aware as you think.
I usually say garbage in, garbage out, and whatever, you cannot give what you don't have. So impact yourself first and work on yourself. If you feel like they're draining you, well and good.
By the way, kuna kijana, unajua Ian amekuwa akinichanganya nini, and I really want us to be together. Unaniambia, Ian, acha nikwambie, ufanye hivi na hivi na hivi. Alafu tunakuja friend dinner or something, na kuna una turn up na Ian, are you mad?
You know, as adulting is adulting, right now is a real intentionality that comes in. But if you are self-aware as a person, you get to now be intentional with ask. Kama mmekuwa distant, you can reach out.
So today's game is sing the artist song, right? Sing the artist song.
Nyashinski!
Aya basi, sing for us. Twende nalo.
Uko sana, wote malaika na mabawa ya, wote wanakita wewe mama ya.
Everywhere, GBS.
And welcome back. A teenager has been reported dead after consuming leftover food from a public function. The incident, which occurred in Kavari village in South constituency of Embu County, has also left 6 others being admitted at Kiritiri Level 4 Hospital. According to Chief Officer in charge of Public Health, Henry Nthiga, the affected individuals had attended a community event the previous day where some of them carried some leftovers home and consumed it the following day.
Report inatuonyesha kwamba ile tunaita food poisoning. Kwa hivyo walipoenda kule jinsi vile waliweka ile chakula, kesho yake hiyo chakula hawakuchemsha, waliendelea tu na kukula. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio ilisababisha kuendeza, na katika hiyo hali tumesema kwa bahati mbaya tulimpoteza kijana mmoja wa miaka 14. Ile ningetaka kuambia watu wetu, kama uko na sherehe uko nyumbani, ni vizuri kuhusisha maofisa wetu, kwa sababu kila ward tuko na public health officers na pia tuko na watu tunaita community health promoters ambao tumewatrain mambo ya usafi. Kwa hivyo kama mtu ako na sherehe yoyote, ahusishe maofisa wetu ili chakula mahali unapikia chakula na hali ya usafi wananchi waweze kuzingatia. Ile ingine ningetaka kusema ni ya kwamba kama chakula kama kimelala, ni vizuri kuchemsha kile chakula, kwa sababu kunaweza kuwa na germs, na ukichemsha ile chakula germs of course itakufa.
Ile chakula ilibaki, sisi tulikula kama familia, na masaa ya jioni msichana wangu akaanza kusema naumwa na tumbo. Sasa kuanza kuumwa na tumbo, nikamwambia bibi yangu amkorogee chumvi, niona kama ni tumbo tu ya kawaida. Alikorogea chumvi lakini tumbo haikutulia. Ndio nikamwambia bibi yangu, huyu mtu hayuko mzuri, mpeleke hospitali. Na kulingana vile alikuwa anaonekana ni kama angefika kule Kiritiri, nikamwambia mpeleke kwa private hapo Igumori Primary School, kuna hospitali ya daktari anaitwa Masharia. Hapo ndiye alienda under treatment, akapimwa, akaambiwa ni food poisoning. Sasa akaanza kuwekwa maji, akakaa hapa masaa 2, 3, 4 hivi. Daktari akamliva Kiritiri, akapelekwa Kiritiri, kufika Kiritiri akaenda akakuwa admitted. Sasa hiyo food poisoning ili affect watu wenye walibebewa chakula ile lipaki ya jioni. Wenye walikuwa kwa sherehe, hakuna mtu aliaffectiwa isipokuwa msichana wangu na aunti yake. Walikuwa watu almost 25 to 30 hapo hivi.
Healthcare services in public facilities across the country face a looming paralysis as over 8,500 universal health care workers threaten to continue their nationwide strike. Hired on contract by the government between 2019 and 2020 to bolster the COVID-19 response, the workers say a promise to transition them to permanent and pensionable terms has been broken. Now, they are demanding inclusion in the 2025-2026 national budget, or they won't return to work.
Health workers stage protests outside Afia House, demanding permanent and pensionable employment, along with the payment of half salaries they claim have been withheld over the past 5 years. They criticize President William Ruto for failing to deliver on his health sector promises.
Tungependa our terms of service zikaweze kugeuzwa kukuwa permanent and pensionable.
Tumechoka, we are here, tutakuwa hapa kesha, tutarudi next week, tutarudi next month, tutarudi next year. Mr. President, we are tired. Listen to us, Mr. President.
Elsewhere, Nairobi County government has launched a sweeping clampdown targeting landowners who have long evaded paying land rates. Leading the operations, Wantaras Njoroge noted that they target to recover over 50 billion Kenyan shillings in land rates arrears.
We will ensure that we are collecting rents that are not less than 1 billion per month from those houses. And we are going to also take other actions. As we said, we are not limited to auctioning and all those other processes. We don't want to get to that, but if we are taken to that point, because 50 billion, you can imagine how much it can do for Nairobians.
And Farmers Party now says that it will seek legal redress to compel Deputy President Kithure Kindiki to step down and allow his predecessor Rigathi Gachagua to take back his position after the ruling by the appellate court stating that the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu had no power to constitute a bench of judges to determine Gachagua's ouster.
We feel it is important for us to have our voice heard, and we will be going to courts. And without even prejudicing what we are discussing, it is important for all Kenyans to understand that as a party, we stand for constitutionalism and rule of law. So we feel we will need more counsel on that matter, but we feel strongly we should have our voice heard in court in this regard.
This is Jeff Obuki, GBS TV News, Nairobi.
To our next story, millions of Kenyans learners face uncertainty as the country's public education system teeters on the edge of a financial crisis. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is warning that deep budget cuts in the 2025-2026 financial year could cripple essential programs ranging from school feeding programs to national examinations. With a funding gap of over 62 billion shillings, KUPPET is calling for urgent government intervention to avert a total collapse of the sector. Susan Nganga has the details.
Kenya's public education sector is on the brink of a major crisis. The Kenyan Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is warning that deep cuts to the 2025-2026 education budget could paralyze learning in schools across the country. With a budget shortfall of 62 billion shillings, key programs that have been severely underfunded, including school feeding, national examination, and teacher recruitment.
The manner in which we are now seeing it happens, it means that we are undermining education of this country. The government's intention is therefore moving Kenyans to look for private education. And privatization of education goes against the grain of the right of citizens to quality and affordable education.
Free primary education faces a 1.8 billion shilling gap, affecting over 650,000 learners. Secondary education is underfunded by 21.85 billion, and junior secondary school face an 18.8 billion shilling shortfall under the CBC rollout. KUPPET warns that these cuts are pushing families towards costly private schools, threatening the right to free quality education for all Kenyans. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Nairobi.
The land-related disputes and abuse of drugs and major contributors to gender-based violence in Kirinyaga County. This was revealed during public participation held at Kirinyaga by the Presidential Task Force on GBV. Anthony Zioki, team leader of the task force, said they have listened to the people of Kirinyaga and they have contributed freely to the national agenda by accepting that the menace is in the society and should be addressed.
Tumesikiza wananchi na hapa Kirinyaga wananchi wamechangia sana kwa wakiwa huru, kwa sababu wameleta mambo, na ijapo tutakuwa tunatoa maoni ambao ni national, hapa wamekubali ya kwamba kweli mambo ya gender-based violence hipo, na si kwa wanawake peke yake, ni gender zote.
Leo nilikuja kama member wa task force na pia nilikuja kama muadhiriwa ama kama mzazi ambaye mtoto wake aliuawa miezi 4 iliyopita. Venye tumesikiza hao wananchi wa Kirinyaga, wameongea mambo za gender zote. Wamesema kwamba mwanamke anaadhiriwa na mama anaadhiriwa. Pia kijana, a boy anaadhiriwa na pia a girl anaadhiriwa. Kwa hivyo tungesema hii kitu tunasema gender based violence, tunafaa tuiongee, pia wanaume wakuwe katika mstari wa mbele kwa hii conversation. Isikuwe sasa conversation hii ya gender based violence tumeitukulia sana, tunaegemea sana side ya wanawake, kwa vile hata hata kama umeuawa na kijana ama umeuawa na msichana, pia si mimi tu, familia ya side ya msichana ninaadhirika. Unaangalia yule kijana akishikwa, pia kwa ile familia pia kama ni kijana ameua, ina wasiwasi mtoto wao ataishi jela miaka mingi. Sasa hii ni jambo wamesema, hii conversation pia tukue na male engagement, boy and girl child engagement. Sisi wote sababu ni janga linapatikana kwa kila familia na kwa kila gender.
Just last night, there was a case that was reported in Lamu. A serious case that was reported in Lamu. I don't want to talk about it, but it was reported there. Exactly what we are dealing with, you know. So it's all over. It's all over. It's all over.
Well, it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 2114. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. I'm so much thankful to have this precious time to actually share with you the Word of God. When I was growing up and when I was attending church, my former church, I was taught that, you know, although I'm saved, but as when I commit sin, I become a sinner. And then when I become a sinner, again, I repent my sin every day for it to be forgiven, so that I can be assured of salvation. But when I was living a life of trying to confess my sin each and every day, and believing that I'm a sinner, actually I could not have an assurance of my salvation in my heart. So I thought, and I was taught that my sin is, the deeds which I do outwardly. Until the time I came to realize, for sure, I'm a person who cannot really do good. The problem is not the deeds which I'm doing outwardly. The problem is the core. The core of my heart itself is evil. You know, Jesus, what he did, he lived among us. And then he died on the cross because of our sin. And then he rose again. The reason why now he did not just resurrect and go to heaven, it is because of, to meet the disciple and to witness that, sin and death could not have any power in his life. He wanted to manifest that eternal life.
Hello, kids. Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 and 25 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap year. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long, but time still flies when you are having fun.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to international news. In a significant step towards restoring democratic governance, Guinea Prime Minister Amadou Ba has announced that general and presidential elections will be held in December this year. This comes as the country plans a constitutional referendum in September, marking key steps in ending nearly 4 years of military-led governance. But the path to transition is drawing scrutiny with growing concerns over political freedoms and opposition crackdowns.
Guinea will hold general and presidential elections in December. The Prime Minister Amadou Ba made the announcement at the Africa CEO Forum in Abidjan, highlighting the ongoing civil and voter registration efforts as the backbone of future public policy. These developments come nearly 4 years after the military seized power, ousting former President Alpha Conde in a 2021 coup. Before the elections, The country will vote in a national referendum on 21st September to adopt a new constitution, a key milestone on the country's road to political transition. The referendum, first announced by junta leader Mamadou Doumbia in April, is meant to lay the legal foundation for a return to civilian rule. Doumbia has called 2025 a crucial election year in the effort to restore constitutional order. Concerns remain over the military government's commitment to democratic reforms. In recent months, the regime has cracked down on opposition voices, dissolving 53 political parties and placing dozens more under watch. These moves have drawn criticism from civil society groups and international observers who question whether the transition will be inclusive, transparent, and truly democratic. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
The acting special representative of the chairperson of the African Union Commission in Somalia, Mr. Adebayo Karim, has lauded the Ugandan People's Defense Forces for its steadfast role in stabilizing Somalia. His remarks came during his first visit to Sector 1 headquarters in Mogadishu, as Davis Karani reports.
Mr. Karim has acknowledged that UPDF's strength and operational effectiveness forced the Al-Shabaab insurgents to shift tactics to complex asymmetric warfare and able to confront Ugandan troops head-on. Sector 1 under UPDF command is the center of gravity and pivotal to stability and functioning of Somalia, underscoring the strategic importance of Uganda's deployment.
I think the General has indicated the importance of the UPDF and Ugandan government generally to the salvation of Somalia. For those of you who may not know or who might have forgotten, this country fell into civil war.
Mr. Karim also expressed deep appreciations to UPDF and the Ugandan government for their enduring commitment to peace and security in Somalia.
Historical excursion to underscore the significant role the UPDF has played in this country, and I think at the highest level, the government recognizes that. Every time we've met with leadership in Somalia, they've always recognized that Uganda, Burundi, the first to come, they played very significant role in degrading Al-Shabaab and bringing normalcy into this country. So, on behalf of the leadership of the African Union, I can only thank you so sincerely for all the effort that you've made in pacifying this country.
He pledged continued AU support for civil-military cooperations initiative aimed at improving the lives of Somalia's citizens and reaffirmed the continental body's dedications to ensuring Somalia is not left behind.
The sector itself is a very, very important sector because one, Lower Shabelle and the connecting areas. When we talk about agriculture, Lower Shabelle is the most fertile area that we have in Somalia, and therefore makes it to be the food basket of the Somalia.
AMISOM Force Commander Lieutenant General Sam Kavuma hailed the visit as timely and significant, reiterating the strategic value of Sector 1. Sector encompasses the Lower Shabelle region, Somalia's agricultural heartland, and hosts key installations including Villa Somalia, the Presidential Palace, Parliament, Mogadishu International Airport, and the seaport.
I want to have the entire component. In my capacity as the Force Commander, I want to come into one of the sectors, which is Sector 1. And of course, as you are aware, Sector 1 plays or has played a significant role since the inception of this mission. Of course, being the first contingent to step in here, everything else that has happened in this country under the mission, of course, have taken place the basis of deployment of this sector. Further to that, the sector itself.
The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, has appealed to member states to fulfill their financial obligations towards the organization's peacekeeping operations. Addressing the issue on Tuesday, Mr. Guterres emphasized that the effectiveness of the UN peacekeeping efforts is a contingent upon the collective commitment of its members, stating that the operation is only as strong as member states' commitment to it.
The United Nations Peacekeeping Department currently leads 11 operations. Additionally, the United Nations has been scrambling to respond to funding costs for aid operations from its big donors, the United States, under President Donald Trump's administration.
Peace operations can only succeed when backed by robust mandates and clear, predictable and sustained contributions, both financial and logistical. But these are tough times for the financing of our work across the board. Peacekeeping is no exception. It is crucial that we are able to use the increasingly limited resources we have and use them well. And this requires more flexible rules and processes.
Guterres argued that with a budget representing a tiny fraction of global military spending, around 0.5%, UN proceeds remains one of the most effective and cost-effective tools to build international peace and security. Unfortunately, peacekeeping operations have been facing serious liquidity problems. It is absolutely essential that all member states respect their financial obligations, paying their contributions in full and on time. The United Nations Peacekeeping Department currently leads 11 operations in countries including Congo, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Lebanon, Cyprus and Kosovo. This is Jaffa Buki, GBS TV News, Nairobi.
Well, it is time for your most favorite segment of the show, the Sports News. Let's get sporty. The Sahara Conference of the 2025 Basketball Africa League delivered everything: talk of dominance, drama and a surprise no one saw coming, as Monastir took the crown, but it was Cape Verde's Creole Star who lit up the car with the tournament's biggest upset, toppling the defending champions. Here is the story.
US Monastir trumped as champions of the 2025 Basketball Africa League Sahara Conference, finishing with a 4-2 record. Joining the Tunisia side in the playoffs are Angola's Petro de Luanda, but the biggest shock came from Cape Verde's Creole Star. In a dramatic final group stage game, they stunned the defending champions Petro de Luanda, securing an expected playoff spot and cementing their place as this year's breakout team. Creole Star center forward Lewis Igo Uvuo expressed his joy after the win.
I feel great. I feel great. I feel very great. Like, I didn't believe I would, get my team to win this game today. But, I just played my heart out. It was great. Like, the fans, the people from Cape Verde, people watching at home. Yeah, I love you all, man. Thank you for supporting us.
Their victory is a testament to the unpredictable nature of the competition and the rise of new stars in African basketball. Meanwhile, host team ASC Ville de Dakar's campaign ended in disappointment. After a strong start, the Senegalese side faltered in the final stretch, falling to their fourth loss of the tournament, losing 4 straight games, including a final defeat to US Monastir. Their head coach Libase Faye reflected on the campaign, expressing the disappointment of not maintaining their early momentum.
De déception, c'est un peu par rapport à le début. Le début que nous avons fait.
Okay. It's about how we started the tournament. Beating teams like Monastir and Petro in the first leg made us believe we were on track for a great run, but unfortunately we were caught both in results and in our play.
Okay. Mais malheureusement, on s'est fait rattraper, okay, sur le résultat et le jeu aussi.
As the playoffs heat up, US Monastir Petro de Luanda and Creole Star set to join Egypt's Al Ittihad and Nigeria's Rivers Hoopers in the next stage, with the remaining spots to be decided at the Nile Conference in Kigali from May 17th to May 25th. Elvin Muyodi, GPS Sports.
Spanish coach Jose Rivera has officially stepped down as head coach of South Africa's Orlando Pirates, ending his nearly 3-year stint with the club. His surprise departure has sparked widespread speculation, with multiple reports suggesting that he may be heading to Egyptian giants Al Ahly. The timing is especially significant as Al Ahly prepares the 2025 FIFA World I'll take that again. The Spanish coach Jose Rivera has officially stepped down as head coach of South Africa's Orlando Pirates, ending his nearly 3-year stints with the club. His surprise departure has sparked widespread speculation, with multiple reports suggesting that he may be heading to Egyptian giants Al Ahly. The timing is especially significant as the Al Ahly prepares for the 2025 FIFA World Cup in the United States, where they are set to face Lionel Messi's Inter Miami in the opening match. Here is more on the story.
Spanish coach Jose Rivera has left Orlando Pirates after nearly 3 years in charge, during which he led the team to a Premiership runner-up finish in 2023 and a Nedbank Cup final in 2025. His contract was due to run until June this year, but his sudden exit has sparked rumors of a move to Egypt. Egyptian media report that Rivera is set to join Al Ahly, but the club has not yet confirmed any talks. Al Ahly has been without a permanent coach since Marcel Coller's departure last month after a CAF Champions League semi-final loss against Mamelodi Sundowns. The African Giants, with 12 Champions League titles and 44 domestic league trophies, are gearing up for the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. They will face Lionel Messi's Inter Miami in the opening match on June 14, possibly with Rivera leading from the sidelines. Elvin Muyodi, GPS Sports.
Well, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It is always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time. Same channel. We make your news our business. My name is Stephen George, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Madenge. Good night.